Hi, and welcome to the Route to CISO Bite-Sized podcast. I'm your host, Chris Rides, and in these bite-sized episodes, we'll be speaking to experienced cybersecurity hiring managers. We'll be asking their advice on how you can stand out from the crowd to make the career moves you desire. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Route to CISO podcast. I'm your host, Chris Rides, and this is another bite-sized episode, and I've got a good mate of mine with me here, Cyber Dave. Dave Ruiz, how are you doing, my friend?
Sir, I'm doing great. Thank you for this great opportunity. Great to see you. And great to
I
talk with
know.
you. I feel like we can't get enough of each other sometimes. We just go on a conversation, lose tangent, and then we find out that we're like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, we'll go back. Now we can talk.
That's it. We've got to try and do this in like 15 minutes and get it like, I don't know whether we're going to be able to do that, because once me and you get together, we can gas on for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep. It's good stuff,
this
though.
could be
It's
fun.
going to be fun.
Watch this. It might be less of a bite-sized episode, more of a long episode. We'll see.
Yeah.
But mate, can you give everybody a bit of a background and a little bit of an introduction to you first, and then we'll dive into some of the stuff we've been chatting about.
Yeah, so I'm Dave Ruiz, out of North Carolina. I was in the military, served for 27 years. Did IT security, the whole shebang, telecommunications, all that aspect. And then came out and just did some contracting, some VCISO stuff just to get out there. And now I do cybersecurity for a utilities company.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate. And we've spent many a moon talking about critical infrastructure and the support and how much of our critical infrastructure is small businesses. So thank you. I know you're doing a good job there, and it's a lot of work for all of the people out there that are working in our critical infrastructure, especially with all of the stuff that's going on at the moment, right? Even more targeted than ever, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the ways that I see it too is just like since ever since I was kind of like of age, right? That's when I got on that big old airplane and flew to get screamed at, so all my life I pretty much served. So I look at cyber also like I'm still serving America. I'm still serving people. I'm doing something for my country, doing something for the
Yeah, I love that.
organization. So
Yeah, you are, and it's good. I think so many businesses don't have a strong enough mission, and the one thing that retains staff really well is the mission focused. And so, knowing you're doing the right thing, and it feels good to be doing the right thing, and going into a job where you make a difference. So, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, every time I feel like I pop open LinkedIn, I've got like a video of you like crashing out something on the guitar, and I think that's so important. And we see so many posts now on LinkedIn, right, that are AI generated. I don't know what polite word for it is. Let me say rubbish, because I'm English and that feels like the good thing to say, right? But a load of AI trash that we get
yeah.
out there. And there's not enough authenticity. Everything you post is so authentic. And I know you speak at a lot of conferences, you get asked to go on a lot of podcasts and speak at a lot of webinars and all this sort of stuff. And I think a major part of that is because of who you are and how authentic you are as a person. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about that, and find out more about like what drives you to do it. Was there ever a step where you were like, oh, is this too far, or should I be putting this out there? What for you are the things that drive you to go and push this stuff out? And I definitely want to know the history about all the guitar stuff, of course.
Um, Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do, and it means a lot. Because I believe that we all have to be, certain that we have to have a certain kind of our face, right? We have to have that this is me, I'm authentic, and just live good about it. So many times, like, we can steer off and we try to follow this and we try to follow that. Then we realize that we're like in some curve somewhere stuck in a corner, and then we're like, oh man, I guess I should have just looked in the mirror and be me and do me, right? So that's kind of like the way that I just operate, man. After so many years of just working with people and seeing different sides of good leadership, great leadership, so-so leadership, it just kind of molds you in a way if you allow yourself to. By the way, if you allow
Yeah.
yourself to, it just molds you in a way that you can be more of an impact.
Yeah, do you know, that's an interesting way to put it because I haven't really thought about it, but kind of comes with a level of confidence. And so, generally, the more senior you get in your career, the more confident you are about being yourself. And so, maybe this is a good opportunity for those people that feel like, they're being overly professional all the time and they've got to have this view of
Yeah,
themselves that they've got to put out there, that there's still an ability to be professional but still be authentic in yourself and have confidence that that's who people are going to like. Because there's nothing worse than you haven't met somebody, you've seen all their posts, you're excited to meet them, and then you bump into them in a conference and you're like, is that even the same person?
they're like a Minecraft
Right?
character. Dunk, dunk, dunk,
Yeah,
dunk.
totally. Right.
But it's
Um,
funny. It's really funny because it's like in a world where we live, right? We're all cyber professionals, and we're all it's just there's such a variety of different people and different personalities, and it's okay to be a nerd. I made a deal with I was
totally.
I'm okay with being a nerd, and I'm okay with all that stuff. It's okay. It's okay. And we're all weird in our own ways. That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Just kind of, being happy, man. Just life is rough. We work, we hound, we do what we got to do. We got families, we got kids. We all get a broken tire here or there, and those are things that are always going to happen. But it's like you got to create that positive aspect for it. That don't matter. Sometimes it's rough. Hey, so what? You can't control it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You
yeah, you
can't
can't. That's
control
the,
it.
and that's the thing. Most people like the anxiety levels and the worry that people feel right now is because they're trying to control everything, right? You, I don't have the news on much in my house because that's thing just pumps you full of things that you can't control, right?
Yeah,
And it's pumping you depending on what channel you want to watch, right? It's pumping you that direction that channel wants to take you on as well. So it's not even giving you all of the picture so you can make your own decisions. So
yeah,
yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I often wonder, and when people talk about neurodiversism and neurotypical people, I often wonder how if there really is such a thing as neurotypical. And this might sound controversial, but just like, is it somebody that's just trying to fit into like how they're expected to be? And it's just those that are better at hiding it than those that either aren't or those that don't care to hide it. Because I feel like we're all so individual personality wise that like if you don't like me for who I am, why am I pretending? Why do I want you to like me? Right? If I have to pretend to be somebody else for that.
why?
It's bizarre.
Yeah. You know, there's there's an old salsa song. This song has got to be from maybe the 70s, right? And the song used to say "Quítate la máscara," right? It's like take your mask off, take your mask off, le le le, right? And then it's like and it's just sometimes that's a good point because sometimes if we think about what are we trying to fit into, why are we trying to fit into, and is it healthy to try to fit into? Um,
Right.
because it's like, um, I don't know, is there a neurodivergent in there somewhere, or 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 are we actually just that desperate sometimes? I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I think I need to do some
Yeah.
some research on that because I'm curious. You just ignited the
Yeah.
curious monster, you know?
Yeah. There we go. We're all beyond that. All asking ChatGPT the same
Uh,
questions and then completely trusting the answers. I was just thinking for everybody that's probably listening and not seeing it on YouTube, they didn't see my shocked face there, right? Right? Was Chris serious about that?
yeah,
But you are right. I think I've got we've got quite a lot of people in my family that are on the spectrum in various steps, and I just believe it's like it is completely normal for people to be individuals and all act individually in different ways, right?
yeah,
Um, and I think pushing that and supporting people to do stuff that suits them, right? Stuff that they're interested in, and share it, is things that we can all do. I want to ask you, like, you tell people a bit about the guitar stuff that you do. First of all, if they haven't seen it already, they can check it out, of course, on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, so I mean, you can look me up on LinkedIn. Just you probably type Cyber Dave and you'll find them. Um, so, so let me see. So I think I was like 12 years old, something around there, right? My mom used to have this Spanish guitar that ever since I remember, ever since I can like physically, mentally remember, that guitar was hanging in the wall. Nobody touched it, right? And one day I looked at it and I say, "Hey, mom, can I have that guitar?" And she's like, "Finally, one of you guys want to ask. Take it." You know? And I took it. There was a old gentleman that lived about 5 houses above or up the road from me, and he
Yeah,
was a classical guitar player. He was like 80 years old, 80 something years old, and I know that he played because you can hear him. He sat down in front of his house. He just does all that classical stuff. And I was like, oh man. So I just went up there and I was like, hey, my mom gave me this guitar. I have no idea. Can you tune it and teach me something? Right? So he took it,
yeah.
he tuned it, and he told me A minor, E, and D minor. That was it. From that day on, I was hooked. And I just, I love music. I think it's not just a hobby, but it's a way to also relax and to enjoy,
Hmm.
and also to share that, because my files are always positive, like my posts are always positive,
Yes.
because it's like trying to push that notion, like, hey, it's the weekend. Sometimes we just get stuck at work, and our brain doesn't stop working, right? But it's like you got to do something to disconnect, because that's how burnout happens. And I know what time we're burned out, when we realize we're burned
Yeah.
out, we've been burned out for months, you know
Yeah.
and just making it intentional. We have to be intentional. So I kind of promote that, the being healthy mentally wise and all that. Just kind of relax and enjoy life. Enjoy work and be great at be the best that you can be at work, man. Like be the best version of you. That when
Yeah.
like I might not be perfect, but I'm gonna tell you what, I'm the best Dave that there is. You know?
And I'm trying to always be the best,
Yeah,
right? We all have down days, we all have bad days, but
yeah,
like if you're going out there, and I do like that about your posts, they're always very positive. And I didn't know the history about no matter, and even though I've known you for I don't know how many
yeah.
years
I
now,
know.
like we've never had that discussion about the guitar. So I'm glad we did have it. It is something like I've got like a short list of things that kind of switch off my brain, and one of them is music, right? I'm not a musician. I like to sing, but I don't think anybody would say I've got a career, any future career in that. But like I enjoy doing it, right? I sing in the shower, I sing in the car, much to my wife and daughter's
Yeah,
annoyance
yeah.
sometimes. But it is kind of a way of just switching off, right? Snowboarding is something that I like to do. Again, helps me switch off, and or hiking, getting out in nature, doing all this sort of stuff that just takes you out of the everyday stresses for just a period of time is so healthy for you. And so, like, I'm glad that you do that, but also I think, like, for people that are listening, that it does tend to be earlier in your career, you're less sure about being yourself, and you're more concerned about professionalism and being seen in a certain way. I certainly see that with a lot of posts, right? A lot of posts that aren't authentic, they're not really that person's feelings. They're just, I need to post today, tell me, chat gpt, what's a good subject to post about, right? Instead of posting about what you're feeling about. And actually, I've not been posting enough recently, so I need to get back on that sort of grade of getting this stuff out there. But if somebody was sort of needing advice about being their authentic self, is there any sort of tips you'd give them, or anything you think they could do, um, to be out there pushing positivity and pushing their own sort of stuff out there, to get them the kind of good positive attention that I think LinkedIn can give you, especially when you're early in your career and it might be giving you career opportunities?
Yeah. So, we look at all these LinkedIn, AI, ChatGPT, Copilot, cookie cutter posts.
Yeah.
with no refinement. You know, like just
Yeah.
paste. Um, and uh, maybe they got some information trying to push out, but I think if somebody wants to go ahead and let's say you want to post and you want to kind of create some interest on something, um, because a lot of people produce numbers, but they don't produce context and relationships, you know,
Yes.
and that personality, that personalization of it. So we all like something, right? We all like something. Um, you know, you like snowboarding, right?
Yep.
That'd be a subject to talk about. You know why it would be something important? Because everybody's so focused about, you know, that when you see something that has a personality on it, you're like, oh, hold on, you know, and it's just find something that you like and talk about it and relate it into your job, relate it into your profession,
Yeah.
relate it into it, right? Because you know that's how you create all these, you know, different how you say um, not a crowd, but different people and different groups.
Yeah. Like a good network,
Yes,
like
network.
industry
Yeah,
connections. Yeah.
and it just connects you out, and it just you know you can have conversations. I mean, there's people that be like, hey man, I play guitar too. I'm glad that you posting videos, and they'll send me messages. You know, it's like I just I don't know how to do it. I just you know I don't want to. Like, is it? I, should I do it or should I not? Right? Or what should I put on there? I mean, I've even asked myself that same question, but I'm like, you know what? It's people need to, you know, people need to change what they see or whatever the case might be. Here's a song, rocking
Yeah.
out. Have a great weekend. Close it out, you know?
Yeah.
Or the other way around, have a great week, you know? Kick it
Yeah.
off on a positive note. Because, you know, to me, I mean, to me like music, right? It's I think music is fun. I think, you know, it digs it reach a little bit deeper than a lot of times than we would even realize, right?
Yeah.
Your brain disconnects, you know, your insides change, and you just
Yeah. Does
right,
because
yeah,
it catches you here, right? And all of a sudden you're like, what happened
yeah,
there? Wow. Okay.
yeah, exactly. So you know, I think that's a good way for me to connect with people,
Yeah.
and just to connect people to something positive, which I think it's
Yeah.
more important. It's just you know having something in a world of, or even when somebody is just so many like you know, I mean, sometimes I know you've seen some posts and you're like, oh, why people just got to be so negative about this stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, you know, or and it just chill. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's nice to, I mean, I get it, right? People want to, sometimes people just want to talk about the stuff that's doing their head in, right? Or giving them stress or whatever. But it is nice. And that's what I like to see, like the positive posts when they come out and it's focused on the positive of stuff, right? Because in every side of it, you can focus on the negative or the positive. And right now, with everything so divisive and all of the news that you want, you know, you really want to see the positives out that are out there. And there's a lot of positive
Yeah.
stuff that's going on out there. And so, yeah, I wish my feed was full of more of that. And I guess the way to make that happen is to curate it a little bit more and pay attention and respond to the people that are putting good, positive stuff out there that does. And I think this is the key thing that you mentioned, but just to emphasize it, like, you know, LinkedIn is a professional social media, or the idea is that it is, right? And I think that you can talk about stuff and be yourself and be authentic and put things out there, especially when you align it to work related stuff. And it's very easy to do that. You don't have to stretch to do that, right? I
Hmm.
think, a lot of this stuff can be aligned very easily. And so that's a great point as well, right? You can bring into what your week's been like or what you've been up to, or you know the snowboarding or whatever it might be. So maybe I'll have to tag you in my next post and do something about snowboarding,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah. Let's do it. Because I mean, and that's exactly what it is. You take it and you walk it and you build it into, you know, into your message. You build it into what you do. And it just kind of gives a very authentic, just conversation about something. You know, it's like we got this little band. We call it the Risk, right? But not really it's not really a real band. But it's three of us. We get together and we do a band. you know. And
Yeah, that's a plan.
yeah, and we go to like the conferences here in the evening time that they have sometimes. We
Yeah,
sat there and we did a couple of songs out at the after the keynote speaker spoke. We just sat there where they had the evening event played in the corner, and people loved it. They're like, "Oh man, we ain't like, that's how this and that's." Like, hey, you gotta enjoy it. It's okay. We're all nerds. We're just all different. It's all right. You know?
yeah.
Yeah. And
We should talk. That's mate. I'd like. Sorry to interrupt. No, that's sorry. Carry on, mate.
no, I was gonna say. I mean, it was fun. It was great. Another way to just change what it's our in our monotonous life.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I had a pen tester. You reminded me of a story when you're talking about that. I got a good friend of mine who's a pen tester, very, very good pen tester, and he'd played around with taking the contents of, I think it was like a Nessa scan or something, and taking it and turning it into notes so that it would play, the scan would play notes depending on what it found and stuff. It was just like stuff that he was playing with. For fun. But again, like, he's into his music, and I think there are a lot of ways you can combine what we do and our passions, and that makes the day a lot easier, right? It makes what we do for a living a lot easier, especially when we have those challenging days. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Like, I've loved this chat. And learned more about you despite knowing you for so long. And every time we get together, we chat for ages anyway.
I
I'm
know.
sure we'll carry on after this. But thank you for being part of it. I appreciate you being on and being here for another Route to CISO bite-sized episode. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. And Cyber Dave, see you later. I do talk to myself. You
Yeah.
see that? Ha. Kidding.
Love it. Follow Cyber Dave for positive stuff that's coming out on your
Yeah.
LinkedIn, mate. I think it's good stuff. So keep it up.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, and thank you for everybody listening. Come back next week for another episode for the Route to CISO. Probably have another bite-sized one, and we are still looking out there for more people to be guests and also CISOs for the season 3. We've got, I think, 8 or 9 CISOs lined up. So always looking for more. Reach out, and if there's anything you want to talk about, reach out, tell me. Always willing to have a chat, and I think if you want to talk about it, generally somebody else wants to as well. They want to hear about it. So look forward to hearing from everybody. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Route to CISO Bite Size podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you keep an eye out for season 3 of the full Route to CISO podcast. And in the meantime, stay up to date by liking, commenting, and of course, subscribing to our channel. Thank you.